What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Blue Room. This is Mikhail, the Idea Shifter. And like I say, every time I get on this mic, I bless the mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. And we're going to chop it up in here today about men and marriage. I got two people that I actually consider wise. One is my age, one is a little bit younger. But before I introduce them to you, I wanna hit some stats for y'all right quick about marriage. Okay. I went and found these stats. And I just thought they were interesting because I think it kind of adds a backdrop to the conversation. Of course, I deal with masculinity, faith, mental health, manhood, money, and family and marriage because we're trying to build up men. So here we go. Here's the stats, y'all. This is going to kind of give us a backdrop. And in 1970, 76 and a half of people were married. So 76 half and put 76.5% of the population was married. In 2023, only 31% of the population is married, which means people being married in America has dropped. What's that? About almost 50%, over 50%. Americans actually stay married. Americans stay single longer than any other people in any other country. So Americans stay single longer, and we're getting married on average 8 years later. As far as that drop in marriage, 76.5% dropping to 31% in 2023. Hispanic and black women are the lowest. So they get married the least out of everybody else. In World War II, I thought this was interesting. It was 16 marriages per 1,000 people. Right now, it's only 8 marriages per 1,000 people, right? So it's dropped 50%. And of course, we all know this that 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? However, what was encouraging is the divorce rate is actually dropping. Right? So the divorce rate is actually dropping, y'all. I thought this was a very interesting stat right here. Millennials wait longer to get married, but they are staying married longer, meaning that they're taking longer to be married. That's why the statistics are skewed, but they stay married longer. 41% of first divorces, so 41% of the people that get married for the first time, 60% of them get divorced. This is crazy number to me. Y'all. I'm laughing because it's funny. When you do
Mhm.
it a second time, it's 60% chance you're gonna get divorced. When it's a third time, it's a 73% chance you get divorced. I hate to see when you get to the sixth, you ain't got a shot at all, bro. Now watch this. There's a
Oh,
divorce every 42 seconds. That's 86 per hour. When you think of that, y'all, as much as I celebrate marriage, it's 86 divorces per hour, 2,046 per day, 14,364 per week, and
Jesus.
746,971 per year. That's a lot of divorce, y'all. Of course, it's a lot of marriage, but it's a lot of divorce. And here's the last statistic. We're going to have to talk about this one. And 75% of divorces are requested by women. Oh boy. 74% of these are requested by women. So women like, man, yo, I don't want to be married no more. For whatever reason, we're gonna make sure we kind of chop that up. I just want to get those stats out. Now, this I got Corey and I got Tony on the line, and I want you guys to introduce yourselves in however, whenever way you think you need to introduce yourself, and then we're gonna get right into this.
Well, I'm Corey, man. I was married 5 years, and been divorced for 2 years. And I'm just on this podcast to uh, get my little 2 cent about marriages and stuff like that. My marriage wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. But it's somebody for everybody out here. So.
Don't get the crying on here, Corey. This is not time for that, man. We ain't here talking, man. Okay. Okay, I got you. We good.
I'm Antonio. This is my brother, Macau. Been knowing him since I I was a kid. Actually, him and his brother Jamil was a very important part of my maturation process, because when I used to look back, at when they were on fire for God, they were really young, and
Yeah.
around that time it wasn't popular. You all were Sunday school teachers. I don't even know how young. How young were you all? Were y'all like 19, 20 around that time? I was
Yeah. I was
young,
about
young.
21. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, young,
Yeah.
and around that time that just wasn't popular for that age group to be already in ministry. So, it
Yeah.
was something to look up to, and they were a pivotal part in, my, deciding to become who I am today. But I've been married going on 16 years in June or July, one of
16.
those. 16 years, yeah.
Good
Woo.
job. Good job,
Man,
baby.
Tony. Man, you've been
Good
married
job.
longer than me. Now, if I add my other marriage in there, I get. Yeah. So since we all sharing that, I was married. My first marriage, I was married for 4 years, but we really only lived together for 2 years. Okay. We separated for 2 years. Then I ended up getting remarried. So I am skewing that remarriage stat right now. I'm doing pretty good right now. This weekend got a little rocky, but no, I'm kidding. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about, fellas, is what is the purpose of marriage and why is it important? And I'll just give a real quick backdrop. I believe that marriage is from God. I'm going to start that off. I don't have to get into gender stuff because it's not worth talking about to me. But I am in the concept of marriage that God created, a man and a woman. And he said a couple of things in there, and I don't want to expound on it. I'm just going to put it out there because I know Tony might and Corey might. But the Bible actually says to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it, meaning that. And then he sends a woman because it wasn't good that man should live alone or should be alone. And he purposed for this man and woman to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. And data shows that communities suffer when people are not in their place in their marriages. So I do believe that marriage is an institution created by God to be fruitful, to multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, to bring structure, to bring order, to bring love, and to bring God's plan to the earth and manifest his purpose. That's it bluntly for me, just to give a backdrop, because I am a man of faith, and I want to put that out there. So, Tony, we're going to start with you. What do you think the purpose of marriage is, and why is it important?
uh, so piggyback off you said, yeah, it's a union. It's a union between two people to produce or to be productive.
Yeah,
And like he mentioned, community, the family is the foundation of the community. You know, yeah, I don't like to put a law on that you have to be married. No, it's not that someone has to be married, but there's no community without marriage. That's what I'll
come
say.
on.
Because a
Yeah,
community needs the family. That's the foundation of a community, is family. So
yeah,
without commitment and union, there is no order in the community. So I believe, yes, it is a union between two people to be productive, because
okay,
going back to what he read in Genesis, um, when God created all things, he looked at it and said, there's no man to basically watch over it. And then we see it
right.
proceeding to say he created man and woman, because there was no man to till the ground. There was no man to, watch over that thing that he created. So, I believe that it's a union between two people to, for a purpose to be productive in community.
Okay, I like that. What's up, Corey? What you got?
Uh, I just think marriage is creating a legacy. You know, two people, saying we together for life. Um, no matter what happens, growing with each other, building a healthy union, uh, coming together spiritually, and teamwork. Right, teamwork makes the dream work. And everyone isn't spiritually inclined. You know what I'm saying? So everyone don't really go by the Bible, right? So you
That's
have a
true.
lot of people. You have a lot of people out here. Just you got spiritually people that goes by the Bible and people that doesn't. So when you have that, one person may not feel the same way as the next person. So you had this chaos,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, you just got to come together as a union, as we talking about. You got to come together as a team and figure out how this marriage is going to go, so. And yeah, it's important, like these two young men have said, it's important to have that family and the community to show everybody that this is how togetherness is.
Yes, and I did like what both of you said, and what strikes me about it is that God he's very specific about what's supposed to come out of it. And that's why he specifically wanted men and women in it. And I do believe that it's necessary, like Tony said, family is the structure of society. So God could have started the Bible off with anything. He started it off
Mm-hmm.
with a family. He started it off with quote unquote a nuclear home with two parents because we didn't have the streets sucking people up. We didn't have, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have people with gambling addictions in the Garden of Eden and all that. But God understood that every child needed to be with a mother and a father, but he also understood that in marriage, there was something that this woman brought to this man that he needed. And it was something that this man brought to this woman that she needed. And when two become one flesh, or when they would get together in a union of marriage, they would produce what he needed produced when they came together. And I believe, like Tony said, I believe that my specific definition of it, to me, is the foundation of society. It's the foundation of community. It's the foundation of order. It's the foundation of structure. And I believe the data shows, because of how kids suffer when fathers are not in a home, or even if a mother is missing out of the home. When you don't have both parents and you only have single parent homes, the data does not look good. Depression increases, crime increases, ADHD increases, teen pregnancy increases, crime increases, substance abuse increases. So it's some things that God put right there for
Yeah.
marriage that he needed men and women involved of. Now we're talking the male perspective, but you can't really say it without women. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. Okay. And we're saying why is so we're saying what is marriage and why is it important? And you guys can elaborate on this. I think it's important because you see what happens to society when they dissolve, right? When they dissolve,
Hmm.
that's the reason why it's valuable. But what I think it has to offer a human being, and y'all tell me what you think about this. I'm pulling this from what Corey said. It's when people make a commitment to be together and not leave. Like like when you go to the altar, you don't imagine getting a divorce. Like, what other things in life challenges us to be committed forever besides marriage? What y'all think about that, and how does that influence men? This commitment, this commitment to be with somebody forever, how is that affecting maybe men getting married less? That's not the order we're talking about, but it's just a natural topic to go into, because you said commitment forever, Corey, right?
Yeah.
And how does this forever commitment affect men directly? Why they may not be getting married or staying married?
So I really believe it comes down to man being scared of what what's in the relationship or what's in the marriage, as far as what he has to deal with over and over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Um, so if it's a situation where she don't want to cook, right? She don't want to cook, or she don't want to clean up, or she don't want to do the things that he feels like a wife is supposed to do, right? And she says no, I don't feel like doing it. I've been working all of these hours or whatever. And he like, well, how am I supposed to eat? So it comes down to the man being a leader and being the man of the house. You have to figure this out and say, okay, she's worked just as much as I've worked, so let me go ahead and cook, or let me go ahead and clean up, or let me do the things that I need to do uh to add to her, to her issues that she might be having outside of the household. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pass it over to Tony.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tony.
Um, I think that it's important that um, we first have to believe that marriage or the family is important. Because if we don't believe that, then we lose focus along the journey. We lose
That's
focus
good.
for the purpose of because many times the union are when people come together, and especially in modern society, we don't think farther than that. We don't think 10 and 15 and 20 years down the line. Many times it's for, our eyes are wide open, and we have all these feelings, and we didn't properly process and evaluate what we're actually doing.
Mm.
So I think that the information, the purpose of why we come together is important, and it's not only for you to be lit with somebody your whole life, or for me to have in-house kitty, right? Or
It's
for
a benefit though.
it's a benefit for sure, or for her
Yes.
to have uh just only safety and security, right? It's greater than that. That's where those things are a part of marriage. But marriage, if we don't look past what I get out of it, then
That's good.
we'll lose focus of its importance in society,
Yeah.
because our relationship stretches beyond, just like we everybody say in church, right? Oh, we need to get out of the four walls, for the four walls. Like, okay, what does that look like? What does it mean?
Yeah.
So it's just in the marriage, it's not just about what happens in the four walls that impacts us. Like when your marriage or your family is in impact, it also impacts the community.
Yeah.
So and that's what I believe, that in marriage, that people don't focus on is our union, how it impacts, how it has ripple effects in the world, on our community, in the city we live in, the state we live in.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you really chopped that up, bro. I love that. And I kind of wanna piggyback off what you said. Those were some bars, Tone, for real. Because what I hear is this. This is what I hear. People get married because they want to be happy. They don't get married for anything
Yeah.
purposeful. I'm with you. Like people want to be happy. There are so many people when I do marriage counseling as a therapist, or even when I was pastoring heavy, people want to be happy. For some reason, our lives have become about, like what Tony said, only about what we want. What about the reason why you came together? Personal story, true story. And Corey, he's heard me say this, and I've told him in front of my wife. I didn't love my wife when I first got married, right? I knew that I was supposed to be with this woman. I actually thought that I was getting married for purpose. What I found out as a man is that happiness is very fleeting, because what I wanted when I was 30, 20, I don't want when I'm 30. When I wanted when I was 30, I don't want at 40. Now I'm approaching 50, and I imagine some of the things I want might be different. But like Tony said, the one consistent thing is I understand the importance of me being with my wife. I understand the purpose of me being with my wife. I understand the purpose of the family that God has given me. I deem it important enough. So when I say commitment forever, now I realize that if I leave her, then my son is going to suffer. If I leave her, my daughter is gonna suffer. If I leave her, my community is gonna suffer. And Tony, that was, to me, that was simply profound, because I've never heard anybody say that. I've never heard anybody say, you know what, you didn't count up the cost before you got married. You only thought about what you can get out
Yeah,
of it. You didn't
yeah.
realize what you were bringing into the world by being married, and you don't understand the carnage you'll leave in the world by getting divorced. And I really like how you said that. And it's simple, but it's extremely profound. And we as men, we need to give that some consideration. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, it ain't about the in-house sex, although it could be a benefit. And shoot, you study those statistics. One in four households of marriages are actually sexless. So if you ain't on that other 75, you ain't even getting that benefit. So what else would y'all like to say? What is it about marriage that can be intimidating to men sometimes? So that's kind of like, I like, we don't really count up the cost. What else maybe men may be afraid of from getting married?
Uh, well, I think a lot of people they get married based on just love. You know what I'm saying? And love is a choice. So um, I think when you marry for love, man, I think you really doing a disservice to yourself, because you're supposed to love God first, right? And that's
Yeah,
supposed to be the order. So love is definitely a roller coaster, and it's gonna go up and down through the whole marriage. So what you want to really focus on is the core, right? Why did you marry this person? Because if love isn't there, you know what I'm saying, what else is gonna be there? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the sex, whether it's how she treat her kids, whether it's how she treat the community, how she treat her family, friends, whatever. It could be anything. How she wash the clothes, how she makes salmon. You know what I'm saying? You could actually like that and equate that to love and say, okay, I still want to be with this person. So and it's harder, it's getting even harder for men out here because the divorcing a woman that has kids with you is gonna cost you damn near 250,000 easy. You know what I'm saying? Over the years, with alimony, child support, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you you want to try to pick the right person, and you don't really even know if that's the right person or not. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
as a man, you have to be that leader and say, okay, I'm not divorcing you. We gonna get this stuff straightened out. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna continue going on and on. But it's hard to do that now because, like the statistics that you pointed out, you got 75% of the women going to divorce court said, I want to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? And then you got
Okay.
ulterior motives also, you know what I'm saying, with these women wanting to get out and just, get out here and be free. They want to get out here and be free and get what they can get out of the marriage while they free. So, and the guys looking at it like, man, I don't want to have to be paying no woman, you know what I'm saying? And she has my house, she getting child support, she getting alimony, and she have another guy in the house while
Right.
he out struggling. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
that's scary for any
yeah.
man. You know what I'm saying? And it might send him it might send him on a whole nother route and a whole nother level, seeing something like that. So
Okay. What you got, Tone?
Yeah. Uh, man, why are men afraid to get married? I think it's more like, especially the modern male, it's a lot to do with that fear of her taking everything, or her, leaving with the kids, or even a man with a who, the child support thing. But I also think that, which I don't hear many people talking about, is number one, we've lived in a patriarchy society over the years.
Yeah,
And when the house falls apart, they don't look at the wife.
you're
When
right.
the family
yeah,
fails, they don't look at the wife. You know, so men are processing this woman, this child, or this lady, and he's processing that, you know, I have to take care of them. I have to take care of her. You know, I have to I'm the weight of whether the house, so put it this way, if the house fails, it's on me. If the house succeeds, it's us, right? So, you know,
Right. You
so you
right.
know, in
You
the
are so right.
patriarchy, it is in the patriarchy society, the male gets blamed for all the issues that go on in the community, you know, or in the family. So it's a scary thing when the man, you know, a lot of people, and I know me, I've never, you know, people talk about I had to experience it, like how heavy it is to maintain a family as a man,
Yeah.
Yeah,
how much
yeah,
pressure it is to maintain your home. You
yeah,
know, if you get injured on the job, like, and you struggle with the car note, you struggle with the mortgage now,
yep,
you got the monthly
That's
food
real.
bill, you
That's
got
real.
the gas bills, you know. So all of these things you have to process while in it, because nobody told me that it's this much responsibility, you know, because nobody really talked about how much a man really had to carry as a father and a husband in a patriarchy society.
right.
Come on.
You know,
You
so
right.
not to mention that you're also black.
Right.
You know, so it's you feel me. So it's double the stumbling
The weight.
blocks you have
Yeah,
that you warn against out here in the world, that you have to persevere or fight through in order to build, you know, in order to have a successful family. So I think that on top of that, you have a whole generation who didn't have fathers in the home.
Yeah.
So he has a girlfriend, and then she get pregnant, and he don't know where to go from there. And she
Yep.
has all of these demands on what she has already in her mind what she believes a man or husband or father is supposed to be. He has no idea. You know, so
Right.
that's a
Yeah.
scary thing. Marriage is the last thing he's thinking about. You know, so I think
Yeah.
that
no question.
outside of like the taking everything, because a lot of us don't have nothing for the lady to take. So
Hmm.
Right.
what is he afraid of? You know, so I think that responsibility, that woman walking up to you saying, "Hey, what are we gonna do about this month?" That's pressure.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, hey,
Come
you
on.
know,
Come on, Tony.
Definitely.
the cupboards in the refrigerator is running empty. What are we gonna do? The
Right.
Real
car just
talk.
broke down. What are we gonna do? The children are wayward. What are we gonna do? And the man
Yeah.
is I I have to respond.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And that's a scary thing for the majority of the men I know, is
Yeah.
that they're afraid that when a woman comes to him and asks the question, "What are we gonna do?" he won't have an answer.
Come on. Hey, man.
Hey,
If
hey.
I was bad, you, I'll punch you in your face. That was man. That was cool, man. And I want to piggyback off of it because, which even adds insult to injury, right? Is when also these these same type of women may not be as gracious as you want them to be, where where where
Right.
that they're not gracious about it. So when you hurt your back, now you just trifling. Now they throwing you away. Or because remember that stat was 75% of women are asking for these divorces. And what people would lead you to believe, and I know both of y'all know this, I know at least 5 or 6 brothers whose wife left them, and these guys were the best fathers
Yeah,
and best providers that a woman could ask for. You know some of them, Tony. Corey, you know one of
for
them.
sure.
These guys provide, these guys guide, and the woman still wanted to leave them. So I think the other fear is is that a man also feels that he'll never be enough for any woman out here. Because I
Right,
like that you
right.
use the word patriarchy, because I can make six figures, but but she wants seven. You know what I'm saying? I got a Nissan Altima right now that I drive, but if you marry somebody that want an infinity, she leaving you, bro, because you don't have enough for her. Meaning that what's happening is that women are sometimes, and I'm not saying all the time, sometimes women are basing their standards on what they see on social media, what they see on Housewives of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? What they see on Instagram. I can name y'all 5 women I know that got breast jobs and booty jobs, and they married. Well, why? Right? He ain't got no problem with what you're doing. It's because society right now, this is my opinion. I like that you use the word patriarchy. And I never thought of that, Tony. That the well, I thought about it pressuring men, but I didn't apply it to marriage. That men are so pressured to be perfect men, but women right now, they get a pass. Because he said it the best. If we fail, it's the man's fault. And if we doing good, it's both of us. Come on, man. And if we get a divorce, you taking what I have? You know what I'm saying? I know a guy personally, one of my best guys. You know him, Tony. He took care of his daughter. His daughter was staying with him for almost a year or 2 years. And the 2 years that girl was staying with him, he was still paying the mama child support. It's stuff like that that sometimes get get under these men's skin. And I want to transition, okay? So I'm always gonna end a segment with I bless the mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. We're on the Blue Room podcast right now. We chopping it up about marriage. And right now, I think we kind of went hard on where I went hard on women. Let me speak in an I statement. I went hard. I went hard on women. What we gonna do right here is I'm gonna bring y'all back on the screen. Right here, we're going to talk about the man's role in marriage. And I do want to give a slight backdrop here because this is how I think God perceives it. And I never say things and think that I'm 100% correct. I am not that guy. I believe that I can teach something and be totally wrong. So let me start off with that premise. But the Bible actually says in Genesis, it's the last, in chapter 2, it says, for this reason, he's talking about when he gave the woman to Adam. He says, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Okay. Now, I'm under the impression that I am supposed to be the glue of my marriage because as a man, I am trying to learn how to be more accountable, you guys. I'm trying to be accountable for what happens. Tony just said it about the patriarchy, but I am trying to be more accountable for what happens in my house. So when I say a man is supposed to cleave to his wife, I don't mean he's cleaving to her from a place of weakness. He's cleaving to her from a place of strength. He's cleaving to her from a place of love. And I don't want to get into the 4 quadrants of a man, which we'll have shows about. I'll do some teaching about it. But when a man is integrated, a woman will either enjoy his rule or learn to enjoy it. Because I believe as a man, I have to cleave. I'm not telling you I'm cleaving from weakness. I'm not running up behind you and all of that. But I believe that God leaves the impetus on a man to cleave to that woman. Because statistics show that what? 75% of them ain't letting you cleave. I mean, statistics say that 75% of them are trying to run. Okay. And I'm not saying they don't have reasons. That's for a different show. I want y'all to chop it up about what do you think the man's role in keeping a marriage? What is the man's role in keeping a marriage together?
Go ahead, Tony.
Um, like he mentioned, the man is the beginning of the family. I think that a lot of these terms that we use, concerning the man, husband and wife and family, a lot of people, because of modern uh, interpretation, we're offended by them. And the funny thing is, particularly for believing people who do have some spirituality, God always has a foundation. So if you
Yeah.
want to make any changes, you have to first agree with the foundation.
That's right.
You know, if you look at the scripture, you see some people they were allowed for many reasons to break certain rules and laws because of their approach towards God and towards the situation. But they first agreed with God. They first agreed with the
Yeah.
foundation. You know, so a lot of people are trying to make adjustments and changes and have not agreed with God first.
Come on.
That
Yeah.
this is the way things, this is the way how I made them, and this is the foundation we build on, right? The
Yeah.
father is the beginning of the family, period. We know that the kids rest in our loins. With the father is the beginning of the family. That's the way God made things. You know, so I think that the responsibility of a man is that he has to be the first initiator. You know,
Yeah.
now is that a law? I don't believe so. I don't believe it's law. You know, sometimes
Right.
um, with certain dynamics with people, but the foundation is the man is the first, like you say, to cleave, right? Or to discover, or to pursue, or to grasp or lay hold of. You know, so it establishes how you, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, it establishes how things will be moving forward. If it don't start off like that, don't expect it to be that later. You know,
Oh
so
man,
in the
you better
problem,
say that 3 times.
and a lot of men haven't, you know, and I tell women all the time who are single mothers with boys, get your son around men, get
That's
them
right.
around men, because they have to hear these things, or she will cleave to him and he's gonna pay for it.
Come on. That's right. You right. You are
Right?
exactly right. You are
In
exactly
a
right.
patriarchy society, right? And I think that that's where I think that's what people don't understand is that whatever society you live in will generally determine the flow of things moving forward. Like you can't, if you want to do certain things, and then now you know that it's not acceptable, so there's going to be kickback or resistance, put it that way. There's going to be resistance in the building because you want to do things different than the society you live in. But you were not built for that resistance. So if I go to a place way out in Africa where the women are, well, a tribe where the limit women are in charge, that's a society to live in. It's not beneficial for me to come in there acting like this or doing this. You know, so we don't consider that because this is a patriarchy society or dominant Christian society, Western society, that sometimes it's not about what you want, it's about what's beneficial to make things work or
That's
to
right.
get the job done.
That's right. That's right. You got something, Corey?
Yeah, I just feel like, as men, our role is, to be a leader, be a teacher. Uh, but I'm not gonna go the spiritual way because, like I said, I am very spiritually inclined. But you have a lot of guys out here, and even a lot of women that's not spiritually inclined and don't go by the Bible, right? So a lot of us, um, we haven't had that foundation as as men and as women. As men, we haven't had that father figure around. We haven't had that mentor around to guide us in the right direction. Um, and we go into this marriage not having no mentors, not seeking no type of therapy, and we got all of this trauma within us. And we go into this marriage, and it's like we don't know what to do. I think Perez, I'm sorry, Tony, he hit it on the head. Like, when the woman asks, okay, ain't nothing in the refrigerator to eat, what do we do? Or when the kids ask, Daddy, I want to go here, I want to go there, and I can't support that. uh, it makes you feel very, very vulnerable, man. And like, so you have suicidal
Right.
thoughts. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I've
And
been
that's
there.
and that's because we haven't as men we don't seek the help that we need a lot of the times. And I am a witness of that because I did finally seek the help that I needed, and I got the mentors around me like Mikhail talking to right now, and a couple of my father and everything. But at the end of the day, man, as men, uh, we have to seek that help. You know what I'm saying? We have to get help and talk to a therapist or even have them mentors in our life, man, so we can navigate through the marriage in a positive way. Because it like Tony said, man, it's ugly pressure in the marriage when you can't provide like you want to, and you sit there and you quiet, and if you have a wife that's kind of like pressuring you and she's steady in your ear about this and that, you don't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have that leadership, you're gonna sit there and you're just gonna be like, I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting here trying to figure it out. But then you have that woman pressuring you, and it's like, you don't really know what to do. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and the reason why I even brought it up, I run men's weekends, and I need both of you guys to go these weekends. These weekends are awesome. They changed my life, taught me a lot about being a man. And I have exercise. I have a lot of stuff that I'm into that center me and grounds me. But I need men to be accountable for what we do. Like
Right.
you said, we need to go get help for our trauma.
Right.
We need as men to get together and find out what we need to do as men. Because one
Yeah.
thing I've realized is that a person who goes to the gun range, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's a target. It ain't moving nowhere. And you got your gun. If you keep missing that target, it ain't nothing wrong with the target.
Right.
It is
Mm-hmm.
something wrong with your shooting, and you
Right.
keep missing. Same thing with basketball. When somebody can't shoot free throws, you know they're just a bum. You know why? Because the hoop doesn't move anywhere. And what I challenge myself with as a man is to be so integrated. I'm not saying perfect. Is to be integrated where I'm consistent enough as a man that my wife can actually practice her shooting. So, like, I'm so in touch with my trauma that I can consistently be a buffer for her. I can consistently be a mirror for her. Where I'm consistent enough, transparent enough, and authentic enough to provide a safe space for my
Mm-hmm.
wife to grow and develop the same way I do. Because I think what happens in a relationship is if 75% of women are asking for divorce, at least half of them probably got a reason to ask for one. Okay. I'm not going to just sit up here and say that out of that
Sure. Sure.
75%, they all bogus. But I
Right.
will
Yeah.
say this as men, what do we actually need to do to stay married? Because, of course, when I say cleave, I do mean cleave from strength. I do mean cleave because I'm working on my trauma. I do mean cleave because I actually have skills of communication. I have skills of conflict resolution. I have skills of active listening. Meaning, what do we do as men when we cleave? What tools do we have so we can cleave? Because Tony said it. Man, we be out here trying to get married, bro. Especially believers. You know what? I don't want to live in sin no more,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So we just go get married, or we got
Yeah.
somebody pregnant and we go get married. But
Yeah.
what we don't get, I believe marriage, like anything else in any other relationship, I believe that it takes skill. I believe there are certain skills a man needs to be married, and I
Yeah.
believe that
Absolutely.
men lack skills to be married, man.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just lack
That's fact.
skill. We don't
Yeah.
know how to resolve conflict. We don't know how to manage money. We don't know how to be active listeners. We don't know how
Yeah.
to tap into our trauma. we don't know how to utilize the emotions because we are emotional, but we don't know how to utilize them. So when I say cleave, I mean cleave from a standpoint where there are practical things that men can be taught. I think Corey said that. Didn't go to no premarital counseling. I think there are things that can be taught. I think that our
Yeah.
toolbox can be expanded so that when we get married, y'all, we can build something beautiful. Anybody want to piggyback on that?
Yeah, do we? I heard both of y'all say do a lot, and a lot of y'all do, or we're not doing. Men in the patriarch society are doers. So, and
Yep.
here's the funny thing though, because women don't believe that they agree with the patriarch society, but their expectations are that their man would do.
Hey, say that. Please repeat that for me. Run that back, bro. Run that back. Come on.
In a patriarchy society, men are doers, and women don't believe that they agree with the patriarch society, but their expectations for men are for them to do.
Mm-mm-mm.
So going back to that pressure, so it also going back to what men should be in a marriage in a patriarch society, doers, right? We should
Yeah.
be doers. So when it's time for the mortgage to come in, we should know what to do. When it's time for the kids, we should know what to do. When it's someone the wife at, we should know what to do. So we're the first responders. I don't know if everybody know what a first responder is.
That's dope.
First
I
No,
am.
I
first
know what it is. Yeah.
I'm a
right?
psychological first
We're
responder.
men are first responders. We the first person on the scene. We the first person to scout the land, right? We the first person to show or to do, and everybody else mimics. Like he was just saying, I create this place and I do so she can.
Yeah.
So we are the first. Men should be first responders. Men should be first responders. We should do. I know for me in my marriage, especially coming up, growing up in Inglewood, man, I thought very little of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I didn't believe that I could do college, or I didn't believe that I could do this, because that poverty mindset, growing up in these conditions and environments, that you can't think higher than what you have experienced. So you
Yeah.
know how difficult it was for me to step outside of what I did not understand, what I did not have direction for, what I didn't have mentorship for. So many of us are the pioneers of our family and bloodline. That men have to do it afraid. You have to do it, without
That's
knowing
right.
if that step's gonna collapse on you or not, and
That's right.
roll with whatever comes with it. I didn't know I would be successful in college, but my purpose was, because for me, I worked physical jobs my life. That was my specialty. You know, so I saw in the future that my body would break down, and I needed my wife to go to school for preparing for a time where I would take a lesser role in the home as far as finances go.
Yeah.
So I went to school to show her that she can go to school, because my wife, she didn't finish high school, hadn't had a high school diploma. When I went, she believed she could.
You
So
don't, man.
I left. I'm like she
Right.
comfortable in school now. I'm good. Now I can go back to my now I can go back laboring, right? And being the provider. Next thing, my wife is working on her RN right now.
That's love.
That's dope.
So
That's
I
dope.
believe men, and guess what? I suffered some work injuries where I'm currently transitioning out of physical labor because I physically can't do it anymore.
Okay.
So men are we're the visionaries of the family, but I think the foundation that we have to do. We're doers. And once again, going back to that, when that family come to you, now wife or those kids come to you, what do we do now? He has to know
Yeah.
what to do. He has
That's
to know
right.
what to do.
Or he better figure it out.
Right.
Or
One
he
or the
better
other.
figure it
Right.
out.
That's right.
I got it. I got it. Because many times that's all they listening. That's man, men, listen to me. All they want to hear, many times they don't even have to see anything. They want to see that you believe that you got it.
Yep.
Right.
And when they come to
Yep.
you, what are we gonna do today? I got it. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
They
Right.
can that if you look at they go back doing what they was doing. They go
Hmm.
back doing what they was doing.
Right.
Hmm.
He gonna figure it out. You know, not saying that the wife isn't supposed to help, especially in nowadays where the economy and things are just, getting everybody got to work now. You know what
Takes two.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It takes
Everybody
two.
got to work now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, first responders.
Yeah.
That's
I
dope. That's
uh
dope.
I I just think for men, like you said, first responders, we have to pick the right person for us. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
have to match that person up with us and how we are. Because most women, they'll cleave to us, right? Because they'll figure out, okay, I want to follow this man. So they'll start liking the same music you like, they'll start liking the same sports you like. They will, cleave to you. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be that leader and say, okay, this is what we gonna do. And she's gotta be into it. She gotta be on the same page with you. Um, but sometimes we end up choosing the wrong person because we don't know ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and
right.
that's critical. You have to understand yourself. You have to learn yourself to be able to match yourself up with the right person. Because you can't match yourself up with a person that drinks a lot or is an alcoholic, but you not. That's a recipe for disaster. You know what I'm saying? So just going forward as men, we have to figure out who we are and what we need to have in our life.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess I'm just trying to say, as much as we want, a lot of us want to be married, men too, because there's a lot of men out here that wants to be married. Just figure out who you are first. Um, and that woman will follow. She will follow. If she know
Yeah.
you're a good leader, and because nowadays, like Tony said, um, it takes two now. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these women, they're choosing who they want, who they feel comfortable with. You know what I'm saying, and taking care of them for the rest of their life. You know what I'm so I just yeah, I guess we in times that um you know people are very picky, and we end up being alone for the rest of our life because folks aren't equipped to doing the things that we want to do.
Yeah. And you
Even
guys,
with this live, man.
what?
I'm sorry. Even with this live, like even with this live, like with when we go into that view of when we by ourselves, like the first time you did it, man, I felt alone because I'm
Right.
telling you, because I'm looking for affirmation from y'all to
Right.
make sure I'm saying the right things. And when I got
Same
left
here.
alone, I think, and I think that that's a lot, even in relationship and marriage, and even being a man in this society, is that, man, when we alone, or when we feel that, it does
Yeah.
something to us.
Yeah.
It does something
Yeah.
to us. You know,
Yeah.
it does something to us.
Without question.
That's funny you went there. I was gonna go there, and I'm not trying to plug these weekends, but I'm telling y'all, I've found a way not to do life alone as a man. Like I don't
Right.
do life alone. I lost my brother and inherited a whole bunch of other brothers that I do life with. And I got this from Tony when he was talking about, and you, Corey, when we talking about, they're really the first trauma of most of our boys and our girls is that they don't have a father. You know what I'm saying? That's like really a trauma. And I imagine being a man. I just told my wife 2 days ago, Trina, I feel like a man now. I know I'm a man now. Like I know I'm a man. I've been taught how to be a man. I've been able to model other men. I do men things. I have ambition. I have competence. I have confidence. I do set boundaries. I do believe I'm an integrated man. I'm not saying that to brag, but I do believe it's a man like me and men like you, or men who know they're men. It's our job to make sure that we are held accountable. We hold each other accountable, and we actually teach these boys how to be men, because what happens is them being men is like riding a bike without training wheels. I didn't learn with no training wheels. I'm from the West Side, from Lawndale. I didn't learn with no darn training wheels. My old man said, "Get on this darn bike, and I'm gonna put my hand on the back of this boy, and I'm gonna hold you." And I just fell. I failed a whole bunch of times, and then I learned how to ride a bike. But I didn't learn how to be a man from my father. I had to learn it. And when I say cleave, I mean we have to cleave with information. We have to cleave with a skill set. We have to cleave with more than love. We have to cleave with more than happiness. We have to cleave with more than that. And we do need God to cleave. We do. I
Yeah, we do.
believe that we have to be integrated men, and we do not have to do life alone. And I'm looking at y'all, and you do not have to do life alone. You do not. Any man, I'm looking at the camera when I say this, any man who does life alone has chosen to do it. At some point, you
Right.
can do life with somebody. I
Yeah.
had to make the choice, and a lot of us do, y'all. And that's going to conclude this segment. Then I'm going to wrap it up with some last minute questions for y'all. I love this conversation. Y'all definitely going to be regulars on here. Plus, y'all nice looking. I bless the mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk, y'all. It's the Blue Room Podcast, and we're really trying to enhance men, right? Helping them walk in the fullness of their masculinity by challenging their thinking and cultivating their spiritual and emotional health, by helping them develop in the areas of faith, mental health, marriage, family, and money. And that's the Blue Room Podcast right there. Got a lot of resources connected to it as this brand grows. And I'm telling y'all, men, we have to get in our places. I bless the mic because I got something to say. I rock headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. So in this last segment, if you could tell the men two or three things about how important, valuable they are, and how important it is that they either get married or stay married, what would be some of your last? And you will be alone on this screen because I'm gonna make the screen big so you can say your piece, okay? So I want you to look at that camera and I want you to state your piece. Who's gonna go first? Who want to chop this up first?
I go. Okay, repeat that again, Mikhail. One more time.
So I want you to just tell men why they are so valuable because we have a crisis right now.
Right.
We encourage women all the time, but we're not encouraging men anymore.
Right.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
not encouraging men anymore. So you're gonna look at that and you're gonna tell men how they are valuable, and then you're gonna tell them why they should either be married, stay married, or at least try to be in a relationship that helps build society instead of tear it down. Now you can insert some other stuff you want to, but make sure you give them some of that.
So as a man, I would say, we create a lot of the things that's out here in the world, right? We create, we build, we do everything. So, at the end of the day, you have to get some help. I would say that's first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? If you wasn't in a household, in a healthy household, where mom and dad was on the same page, they talked to you, they interacted with you, and they did things with you. If you wasn't in a household like that, seek some help. You know what I'm saying? Get some therapy, get get some mentors around you, get some headstrong guys around you, man, and just piggyback off that, and just continue going on with life the way it's supposed to be, whether it's spiritually, or if it's not spiritually, just try to be as righteous as you can. So it's I would say it's important to be married, but if that's not what you want to do because you are scared, um, then once again seek some help with the woman that you trying to do things with, or you trying to get married to, and you figure it out. Because having a union and having peace amongst a family is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, because I was married, and being in it, it was a beautiful thing to come home to your kids, get out in the community, and the community see that you family oriented, you going to work, what I'm saying, you have a wife, people looking at you, like, man, he got it together, what I'm saying. But when you divorce or you're single, you kind of get singled out, what I'm saying, in a lot of ways. So and everybody needs a helpmate, man, what I'm saying. And no one out here wants to do life by themselves, because you can go through life and you might get sick, you might lose a limb or anything, what I'm saying. And who's going to help you, get through life like that? What I'm saying. You got to have a companion. You got to have, somebody that's going to love you, unconditionally, to the point where they're going to take care of you. So as men, what I'm saying, we do die off before the women most of the time. What I'm saying?
Yep,
So, and
that's statistics there.
we get sickly faster than women also. So just to have that companion, just to have that person around you. Now I'm not talking about somebody you didn't scorn. I'm not talking about somebody you didn't done wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about somebody that, that you've done right, what I'm saying, over the years. And, there's no infidelity, there's no cheating or nothing like that. She's going to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? If, you treated her correctly. So it's very important to have that type of union, man. Just because we all need someone when we down and out and we don't have nowhere else to go.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I like that perspective, and yeah, it is important. So, Mr. Tony Perez, let's get your final comments. Why are men valuable, and what you can say about you know relationships. Of course, marriage may not be in the cards for everybody, but man, tell us, brothers, what we need to do. Help us all out, man.
Well, first, the reason why marriage has become an option is because the world has been modernized. If it was not modernized, it would
Mm-hmm.
still be a need.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to encourage the men that continue, because when I look at men, particularly in my experience, is the difficulty to continue when you don't know what to do, when you feel small, or you don't feel valued. Imagine this, especially those who grew up without a father. You love this man and did not know him. How much more do your kids love you and they see you, right? And that's what we have to realize, that people actually do love us. People actually do need us. Not to mention that our impact is not only those in our circle, that there are people in our communities, in our workplace, at the party, at the meeting, looking at you, how you interact with your family and your wife, and it encourages them and builds hope in them that they could also do the same. So continue, don't
Yep.
give up, continue, keep going. And I think that is, in my experience, in all of these 16 years with my wife and my family, that has been the only catalyst of change in my life as I continue. Eventually, something's gonna break, right? They
Yeah,
say hard times don't always last, right?
that's right.
You know, night night don't last. There's always morning always comes. It won't always be like this. So don't allow a moment to cripple you as a man. Don't allow one bad
Come on.
conversation with missus to cripple you as a father. Don't allow one bad experience with the kids to cripple you as a father, right? So this is
That's good.
continue, man. You know, the request is not to be perfect, but it's to be present,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
Right. So that's what I have for men, man. Continue. Get your tail around some other men. Submit it. That's another issue in today's society. Men got all the answers. If you got all the answers, then you also have all right the successes. you know, but we don't. We don't have all the answers. So get submitted. Get submitted because men also have rewards. Men also have rewards. So when we receive that man, we receive the reward he has, whatever it may be.
That's right.
So get submitted and with men under community where you can grow as a father, as a big whatever area in your life that you're trying to succeed in, whether it is emotional, find you a man who can put you in that position where you can grow
Hey, I think we lost them.
We lost him.
So
Okay. Yeah.
there we go. There we go.
You trying to come back? There you go.
There we go. We think we lost them. I'm gonna go, and mine is simple.
Yeah.
What comes to my mind is the word catalyst, right?
Mhm.
And also what comes to my mind is the word investment. And what I want to tell men, invest in yourself. But I do
Mhm.
not, when I ask a man if he investing, I'm not talking about you buying Jordans. I'm not talking to you about you buying gear. I'm not talking about your car. I'm not talking about that. When I say have you invested, you study money, you study stocks, you study women, you study black history, you study auto mechanics, you study engineering, you study law, but do you study manhood?
Mhm.
Do you study being a man? Do you study being a father? Do you study being a friend? Do you study about what it is to be a man? And if I couldn't encourage men but to do one thing, it is time for you to invest in your manhood. Okay. When I say invest in your manhood, I have weekends so you can invest in your manhood. There are books. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos is a good book. There's another book by Richard Rohr called Adam's Return. There are a lot of books that you can read right now to be a better man. I'm not talking about you being a better black man. I'm not talking about you being a better white man or a better Mexican. I am saying you need to be a better man. And that comes by investing money and time into your masculinity and your manhood. And stop being so passive about letting life dictate to you what is going to happen when you yourself possess the power to create the life you want. I'm telling y'all, I bless this mic because I got something to say, and I rock these headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. I'm telling you, men, you need to subscribe, and women, subscribe to Move Your Life on YouTube. Move Your Life so you can rock with the Blue Room podcast, y'all. I'm telling y'all, we changing the world. We got some stuff coming up. My website will be live at the end of the month. I got some guest speaking coming up, y'all. If you want to be a part of this movement, subscribe to Move Your Life. I lost one of my guests. I'm going to talk to him when we get off of here. But Corey, thanks for coming on here. You will be back. And I love you. Hey, y'all. Like I say all the time, I'm going to say it again. I bless this mic because I got something to say. I definitely rock these headphones because I'm listening twice as much as I talk. Blue Room signing off.